Hey Physique Freaks, how's it going? Coach Scott here, and today we're going to talk about refeeds and cheat days. And I'm going to kind of steer away from the hormone talk and all those types of benefits, even though it is a good reason to include refeeds. But really what I want to focus on is kind of getting the most enjoyment out of life by incorporating refeeds into your overall nutrition plan. And I'm going to share the experiences that I've gone through in the past. I've gone through a lot of different cutting phases, and I've experimented with a variety of different refeed strategies along the way. So I'm going to share those experiences with you. If you enjoy this footage, please be sure to hit that like button and of course subscribe to the channel and hit that alert button so you don't miss any future updates. I am uploading every single day right now, so going to be covering a lot of great tips and advice along the way, giving you some insights into my experiences in and out of the gym, as well as in and out of my kitchen. So we're going to kick things off with the first cutting phase that I ever went through. First of all, I tried to drop weight for years and years. So I gained about 50 pounds of fat throughout my mid-20s. And I struggled through my early 30s to drop that weight. And I always found that I'd be really good for 3 days, and on the fourth day I would just lose it and binge. Like I'd have a couple of cookies. Like I tried to be perfect for 3 days, and on the fourth day I'd have a couple of cookies and go, I screwed up, and then eat the entire bag. So what I found was calorie cycling, carb cycling was the best approach for me at that time, where you'd go 3 days in a deficit, about 30% deficit, and then on the fourth day I would eat up to about maintenance and sometimes a 10% surplus. And that just suited me really well because it worked with my natural tendencies. And I found, like, when I would binge previously, on that fourth day I'd feel guilty, I'd be beating myself up. But when it's planned into your overall structure, your lifestyle, I didn't feel guilty because it's all part of the plan, was to eat more on that fourth day. And that worked really well. I dropped that 50 pounds. The goal always, any cutting phase I go through, has always been to drop about 1 pound to 1.5 pounds a week. It just works for my body size, and it's not too aggressive where I can't control it. So after that initial dropping that 50 pounds, life got in the way. I gained about 30 back. And the next cutting phase that I wanted to drop that 30 pounds, I kicked things off with an approach where it was 4 days in a pretty aggressive deficit, and on the fifth day you would completely pig out. You were encouraged to eat until just be gluttonous, and the following day you would fast. You would fast for 24 to 36 hours, and that approach, again, it worked. At the end of the week I was able to drop 1 pound to 1.5 pounds. So I met my goal, but it didn't suit me. I really didn't like the feeling. I found that the encouragement of being gluttonous on that refeed day, it was kind of counterproductive to what I was trying to accomplish. I didn't want to experience. I didn't enjoy that overstuffed feeling. And then the following day, where you're fasting for 24 to 36 hours, I just felt like it was punishment. And I just kind of wanted to avoid that kind of the binge purge type mentality. It just didn't suit me. It might suit you, but and that's the main thing I want to take from this, is that there's multiple ways you can embrace refeeds. They all basically work. It's just finding what suits you well. So I did that for about 5 or 6 weeks and experienced great progress, but the normal progress that I would experience. But then I just reverted back to my calorie carb cycling of 3 days of 30% deficit, 1 day at maintenance, or 10% surplus. And then from that point on, I've gone through some muscle building phases where I'd gain up to 20 pounds. And I found that my kind of lifestyle changed. I found that, you know what, I don't need a refeed on that fourth day. I can push it a little bit more. There's no really reason to have it. And what I also found was that refeed day oftentimes fell on a day that, I didn't feel like I needed it or anything. And then when I really wanted a refeed, like when I was out at a social gathering or something, I wasn't allowed to have that refeed because I had to stick with that 30% deficit. So it just wasn't working for me at that time. And I thought, you know what? Every Friday night I'm out with the guys and I'm struggling. There's always a massive spread of food. We'd have chips out. I'd go completely nuts. I had a really tough time keeping things under control. So I thought, just once a week, I'm going to have a refeed, and I would just completely lose it. I'd eat everything, and I'd have drinks and all that. And what that meant, I loved it. I had a great time, and I just looked forward to that day. But for the rest of the week, the other 6 days, I had to be in a pretty aggressive deficit. Usually I'd be around 1,600 calories for 6 days in order to kind of compensate for that big pig out. And eventually my goal was to kind of keep that day reined in a little bit more. And the more I could control that day, the less aggressive I had to be throughout the week. And that's the approach that I used the last major cutting phase that I went through back January 2nd, 2017, where I dropped 20 pounds. My buddy Mike, 56 years old, dropped 30 pounds following the same approach, following the same workout plan that I'm following. And it worked really well. And that's kind of the approach that that resonated most with me, picking that one kind of cheat day throughout the week and then being a bit more aggressive throughout. Now, this recent mini cut, what I have done, and again, learning from each of these experiences every step of the way, I started off consuming 2,000 calories every day. And I kept it consistent for 13 days straight. And what I really noticed was my energy was high all the time. My performance in the gym was absolutely amazing. I didn't feel like I was dieting. I didn't feel like I was restricting myself all that much. Even though I was in a 500 calorie deficit, I didn't feel so restrictive. And that was a big lesson to take away, because in the past, when I've been aggressive in my deficit throughout the week, workout performance tends to suffer. It tends to taper off a bit. So that's a big trade-off for being aggressive with your deficit. So having those calories up to 2,000 compared to like 1,600 made a big difference overall in my overall energy and activity. So I found I was doing a lot more, I was being more active outside of the gym as well. So on that 14th day, I ended up pigging out, and I kind of vowed at that moment, it was like Mother's Day, that I would never, I would try to never do that again, because having a pig out fast like that, it made me, you think it's enjoyable, and it's enjoyable at first, but as the day goes on, you just feel more and more stuck, more uncomfortable, lethargic, disgusting, and then at night I don't sleep as well, and I'm experiencing acid reflux. It's just not a good overall experience, and I find not worth it to eat that much in excess. So from then on, I vowed to, from here on out, when I have a refeed, I'm going to keep it in check. And so far so good. But what I found was I've had a lot of social gatherings since then. Like Mother's Day kind of kicked off the season of a whole bunch of social events, and I want to enjoy those events. And that's really what this is all about. You want to kind of live life at the same time while you're transforming your body. So for example, this past weekend, Friday night, went out to the Carousel of Nations with my girlfriend. So we hit the Caribbean Fest, we hit the Greek Fest, and the Bavarian Fest, and I wanted to enjoy a lot of those foods, but I didn't want to pig out. I didn't want to feel disgusting like I did before. So we shared a lot of the meals. We wanted to just taste a bunch of the different stuff there and satisfy my palate without feeling gluttonous. And it was an incredible experience. Like I ate light throughout the day, kind of preparing for it. Tended to snack on like high protein snacks that kind of satisfy me, aren't so high in calories, fill me up a bit, and then come at the nighttime, I can enjoy all the treats that were out there. It was fun. Again, the following day was Father's Day at her family's house, and enjoyed some great foods there. And then I had my family over for Father's Day dinner here, and my mom made a cherry pie and lemon meringue pie, so I knew I wanted a piece of each. I just kind of planned to fit those into my my day. So again, eating pretty light throughout the day, had a nice protein and veggie dinner. So some bacon wrapped beef tenderloin, some tenderloin kebabs, and some peppers and onions all fried up there. Amazing dinner, and then had room for dessert. So that was 3 days in a row where I ate right around maintenance. So throughout the week leading up to that, like I knew I was totally prepared to have 3 days in a row of eating up to maintenance. So I had to have 4 days that were pretty aggressive. So instead of 2,000 calories, I dropped it down to about 1,700 calories, just to make sure I was, again, making that consistent pound to a pound and a half of weight loss each and every week. And it paid off. And that's basically the approach that I've been following for the past few weeks, like past month really, is where I've had 2 to 3 days of eating around maintenance, and then 4 days where I've been pretty aggressive with my deficit. So I kind of let my social life dictate my refeeds and my deficit. So if I know that I don't have any events coming up for the next 2 weeks, I'm going to try to eat 2,000 calories a day and keep it consistent. I know I can hold that. I know there's going to be no temptations. I know I'm not going to feel deprived. I'm going to roll with that 2,000 calories. But if I got social events coming up, I'm going to kind of plan for it throughout the week. I want to enjoy those events. I don't want to be like the odd man out who's like turning down everything in sight. I want to be able to enjoy a little bit here and there without overindulging, without thinking that I've got to go ham and completely nuts here and I'm going to starve myself the next day type thing. So again, I think that the big thing is to enjoy this process, to kind of plan for these events and to plan to enjoy these events and walk away from these events not feeling guilty, not beating yourself up, because you planned through it throughout the week. You ate less, working yourself into this great place where you can enjoy these meals, and you're not going to go completely overboard because you didn't starve yourself throughout the week either. So that's my take-home message. Fit it into your social schedule, as long as it's not every single night that you're going out and pigging out. But I hope you benefit from the message that I'm sharing with you today. I would love to hear how you incorporate cheat meals and refeeds into your day and schedule, your week, and how they've worked for you, if you've experimented with different ones in the past and how it's all gone for you. If you enjoyed this footage, hit that like button. Of course, I want to hear those comments down below, and want to see tomorrow's video, hit that subscribe button along with the alerts. Catch you in the next video. Have yourself an absolutely amazing day.